What's up? In this video I'm going to show you how to create guitar afrobeats. In a lot of afrobeats, a guitar is used as one of the main melodies.
Baby, calm down, calm down. Yo, this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown, for lockdown.
And keep in mind, when using a guitar, it's a timeless and unique element. So in this video I'm going to show you how to create simple but unique guitar melodies in FL Studio. So I hope you enjoy it. Step 1. The guitar melody. So when it comes to creating guitar melody, the easiest way how to start off picking the right scale. So I recommend you pick a minor scale, and I recommend you use D or D sharp, G or G sharp. And for this video I want to create a kind of emotional guitar melody. So for this guitar melody I've used the picked nylon from Contact. So first we're going to start off with this E. Then you could pick a note half an octave higher, so from E to B. And then the easiest thing to do is pick a note in between. So we have those three options. So for example, let's start off with this F. And then something upwards seems logic. So we pick this G. So easy to begin with. So right now we're going to add some more notes on top. So the easiest way how to add an emotional note on top is pick the next note, which is in this case F sharp, and then one octave up. So press Command arrow up. And move around with the position until you like it. And then we could, for example, pick this G. So let's have a listen. Sounds off somehow. So we're going to pick the next note in the scale, which is A. Sounds beautiful. So we'll pick, for example, this B, and then we're going to add an A again. To make it sound logic, we're starting from the beginning again. So it sounds like a loop. Sounds great. So keep it simple like this, 4 bars, which is perfect. And right now you simply randomize it, because when you play guitar in real life, you don't hit the string at the same force every time. So by randomizing it, we're basically simulating this. Play around the velocity, depends on the guitar plugin which you're using. So I'm just going to set it to -30. Sounds great right now. And then on the guitar, you remove the low frequencies. I've added some chorus to make it sound softer, a little bit of parallel compression. So that's how you start off with a simple guitar melody. Step 2, the drums. So for this beat, I've used this snare, and we're going to create that standard afrobeat rhythm. But then we're going to make a small tweak. After the second step, we're going to add one right here. So it's this last one. Then we're going to add a kick at every step. And after the second kick, we're going to add one right here, remove the velocity, and we're creating something like this. Then we're adding a shaker loop. And right now it still sounds way too empty, so we're going to add some percussive sounds. So we're going to add a bongo and this conga. And last but not least, another tom. Small details, but in the end, they make a huge difference. Then we're adding some more wooden percussive sounds. Just to spice it up even more. And for example, this wooden percussive sound, this one, make sure to play around with the velocity to add more dynamics, make the drum loop way groovier. You can simply press Option R and randomize it again, or adjust the velocity manually just by hand. So we basically have one main percussive sound, then we have some toms containing some mid frequencies, we have some more high percussive sounds like the wooden sounds, we have the kick, and like this we're covering the whole frequency spectrum and make it sound full and energetic. And last but not least, we're adding some drum rolls. So adding some drum rolls from an Afrobeats Infinity drum kit. So I've included 20 drum rolls, just drag it in. I directly stretch the tempo of the project. And for example, in this beat, I've used drum roll 2 and it sounds like this. Just so easy and useful when it comes to creating afrobeats. So if you want to check out the sounds and for example drum roll, make sure to check out the link in the description. Step 3, adding more melodies. Most of the times a guitar is used, some simple keys, a bass line. So I've added another keys layer. So I've used the stage 73 and use the nice Banner preset. And this one sounds like this, basically following the same chords as a guitar. sounds great. Then I'm layering this with the same guitar, which is just playing the root notes, so these notes. Otherwise too much was going on. So together it sounds like this. And I've added some more samples from cinematics. Just to make the beat more interesting. Now for the intro, I've used this saxophone, which is amazing. Just sounds so cool and goes perfect together with the guitar. You want to add elements like this to keep the beat interesting, and it also makes it way easier to arrange the beat in the end. So if you're struggling to get along with the tutorial, I just want to let you guys know I have a course available which takes you through every step when it comes to music production, especially if you're a beginner. So if you're just starting out in FL Studio, make sure to check out the link in the description. I will explain everything about the course in detail, and I think if you're just starting out, it's just a perfect solution for you. So if you're interested, make sure to take a look at my website. So let's continue with the tutorial. Step 4, the bass line. So in afrobeat, the bass line is generally very simple. In this case, it's also very simple. It's just following the root notes from the guitar melody. As you can see right here, it's E, B, F, and G. And for the bass line, these are the same notes. So I'm using this amazing preset from the Mini V3, a bass you will use, which is just a simple sine bass with a lot of harmonics. And altogether it sounds like this. So I'm using this Carby pre-bass and also from Contact, and it's playing this melody. It's following the same root notes as the guitar melody, but for the top notes, so the small notes right here, it's following the same melody as the keys. So this way you keep it interesting, and it's just an amazing and interesting layer. So for example, when we combine it with the main guitar melody and a simple percussion loop, keeps the beat very interesting. And to add more groove to this guitar, I've sidechained it, so the sound is ducking in the beginning. Just gives it way more groove, especially when it's playing next to the kick. Step 5, the arrangement. So for this beat, it's basically chopped up in sections of 4 bars. So every 4 bars, a new element is coming in. So for example, first we're just starting off with the guitar and the saxophone, then the other pop guitar is coming in, then the keys are coming in, then we're layering it again with the bass guitar, then the guitar 2 is coming in and the samples from cinematics. Then right here we're removing some drums and the bass notes are extended, so this way you keep the arrangement interesting. Also the same for the drum. So first we're starting off with some simple drum layers, then we're adding the shaker, then we're adding some wooden percussive sounds just to keep it interesting after the 16th or 18th bar. Otherwise the drum loop could sound a little bit boring towards the end. And then a simple but amazing trick when it comes to a bass line is we're removing the low frequencies. So right here for the bass or pop guitar, it contains all of its low frequencies and it's automated by using this automation clip. And this is the automation, so simply select this one, press tools, last tweaked, and then create automation clip. So this way you add an automation clip to the playlist. And right here, for example, when the bass is playing, which contains a lot of low frequencies, and the pop bass will also play at the same time, add 2 elements which contain a lot of low frequencies, and it could sound very messy and blurry. So right here I've automated it and it sounds like this. So it just contains the mid frequencies and it blends very well together with the sub or original bass line. You don't even recognize they consist out of 2 layers. And then I've added another automation clip where the high frequencies are fading out. Just makes the transition to the next bars way cleaner. So of course the typical Afrobeat clap impact is playing a huge role when it comes to the arrangement. So for example, this is the first break part. So for example, on a transition to the bridge part, just remove some percussive sounds at the end of this bar, because otherwise there is just too much going on when you're transitioning to a part which sounds more empty. So in this part there aren't playing any drums at all. And then again, we're just switching up the arrangement every 4 bars again. So during those bars, the saxophone sample isn't playing at all. But at the end of the beat, you want to keep it interesting. So right here on this bridge part, I'm adding it in again. And this makes you realize this was playing in the intro, but now it's playing again. And it just makes the arrangement complete. And then the saxophone sample is playing at the end of this beat again. So this way the arrangement is interesting, because in the beginning of the beat, there aren't playing that much elements, but towards the end of the beat, it's getting fuller and there is just more going on. And this will result in a higher chance your people will listen to full beat instead of listening to it for example 1 minute. Step 6, mixing. So I've just opened up the mixer and I've colored all those elements which are linked to one mixer bus. So all of these elements are linked to this Melodies bus. So you could simply do this by selecting those ones by pressing Command, then press Option Shift, and then select Route to this track only. And then all these channels will link to one bus. And this makes it way easier when mixing your beat. So on the main drums, I've used this amazing trick. I've used this PS22 XSplit stereo, and this makes sure the low frequencies from the snare sound mono and the high frequencies sound more wide. So you're widening up the sample. And this is an amazing trick to make your track sounds fuller. So you could adjust the spread right here, the density, tweak it the way you like it. So without it sounds like this. With the sample sounds way more on the sides. And while you're mixing your beat, this is something you want to apply to your main drums. So for the percussions, I've added a lot of panning. So I've panned some elements, for example, 50% to the right, 50% to the left, because when everything is playing in mono, it will make it way more difficult to mix the beat and make sure all the elements stand out. And then I've used a simple transient control compressor from Arturia, just to make sure there are no peaks bouncing around. Then I've added the same compressor on the toms. They contain more mid frequencies, and I want to make sure they play at the same volume. So that's why I use another compressor. On the Melodies, I've removed the low frequencies up to 50 Hz. Then I've used this stereo separation trick again. You guys were asking how this works. So we're basically panning this frequency to the right and another frequency to the left. And I do this at every C note. So this is C10, C9, and then we're doing exactly the opposite using a second fab filter. So to show you the difference, I'm using an Ozone Imager 2 on the master. So right now the EQ is turned off. Then we're enabling the EQ. As you can see, we're boosting the signal on the sides, and that's exactly what we want when it comes to any melodies. So when some of you guys export the melody and say it sounds too narrow, this is a trick how to do it. Use the stereo separation plugins or do it manually using the Pro Q3. Then I'm using another parallel compression. So I'm compressing all the sounds to make sure it's packing together, and then a little bit of subtle saturation just to add some color and harmonics to the sound. So because you're not using a lot of elements in your afrobeats, those mixing tricks are just crucial. They will make your beat sound way much better in the end. So guys, and that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like the sounds which I've used, make sure to download the Afrobeats Infinity Drum Kit. There is also a free preview available, which contains over 150 free sounds. So make sure to check it out. The link will be in the description. If you find this video helpful, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. And I hope you guys enjoy the final beat.